Hey stars, welcome back to my channel. I'm Purity Okoro, an Igbo-Nigerian girl living in Lagos. And here I share career growth tips, faith reflections, and behind the scenes of reclaiming my voice. Yep, I said that. Rebuilding my business and really just living life in general with God at the center of it. With a lot of my intentionality and authenticity. Video, I'll be sharing with you how I switched careers. I actually went from being a medical laboratory science to being a business analyst now, with a lot of in between, to be very honest, with a lot of twists and turns, with a lot of confusion, with a lot of, oh my God, what the heck am I doing here, right? I studied medical laboratory sciences, and trust me, I was really good in school. But while I was in school, I was also doing business. Like I started a footwear brand, yeah, a handmade footwear brand, which I still run, which is the one I said I'm trying to rebuild because a lot of things have happened really. So upon graduation, I knew I wanted to do something a lot more interesting, but I wasn't sure, decide on if to just go on head on with this career path or, focus on business. It was a tough one, right? And in between that, I knew I had to take a decision, but somehow life just took a decision for me because, of course, after schooling in the university, of course, living in Nigeria, I have to go for NYSC. And from NYSC, I found myself in a postgraduate program that had nothing to do with what I studied. Oh my God. It was an experience. It was a fully funded scholarship. It was an experience, a good one I had. I was in the midst of 59 other very smart scholars. And that was when I first found myself in a space where I was no longer the smartest, right? There were so many other people who knew stuff and I didn't even know jack about them. That period was tough because, having been used to being in a space where you know a lot of things that were happening, it was difficult trying to, stay there. But I just knew that there was a lot to learn. It also affected my self-esteem, if I'm going to be very honest. It sort of made me begin to feel like, oh my God, where have I been all my life? How is it that I don't even know all these things that these people know? And I was like, yada, yada, yada. But in the midst of that, I got exposed to a couple of things. I got to know about certain career paths, of which data analytics was one of them. However, I had before that, before oh my God, I skipped a whole part. Before I even went for the postgraduate program, I had after graduation I had worked in different I had worked within different roles before NYSC, going from working as a marketer, which now we typically call a salesperson, but it was called a marketer then because I was selling a service. I was a marketer for a service based company. Yeah. Right. A service based tech startup, let's be specific. And while I was there, it was a contract job and they brought me to the company and like full time and asked me to now become the customer service person. So from being a customer service person, of which I was the first actual employee of that company, I went on to become the data analyst. So I analyzed the data that was available on the company dashboard, generate insights from it. I didn't even know what I was doing then was data analytics. Sorry for another day. But I knew that I would typically look at the dashboard and I could tell when certain things happen, when we had peak periods and all of that. It was really just me again giving feedback to them. So maybe not again, but giving feedback to them, say, oh, this is something I was noticing, this is what is happening and all of that. So moving from being a marketer to a customer sales representative to being a data analyst. Oh, so even to the point I was managing the company finance. That's another story, right? And all of this, while I did this, I was also working as an assistant project manager with a tech company. Now, when I say these things, it will sound like I was doing a whole lot in terms of core tech. I wasn't. I wasn't even. I didn't even. I don't think. I don't consider myself as someone who was that exposed to tech, early on, and even at that time. But I knew that there was an IT project that was going on, somewhere where I was doing that. So that I was based in Enugu, but I'm now in Lagos, right? And the project manager needed an assistant. I need to slow down. Energy is too much. So the project manager needed an assistant that would just be on ground to see what's happening and make sure that whatever it is they were trying to fix was done and done well. I had the experience, let's say, in the space of 1 year post graduation before going on to now do my internship. And from internship within the hospital, I went on for NYSC. While at NYSC, like during the service year, I got to know about the postgraduate program which I had mentioned earlier. I was just trying to trace back a little, and then from there, my previous exposure to data analytics and what I was now learning in this postgraduate program, which was on technology, entrepreneurship, design, and management. My exposure now led to a greater interest in data. Surprisingly, I think one of those days I called my former colleague and I was like, oh, I'm actually getting interested in data analytics. So then, of course, working in a tech company, there was a lot of pressure. Should I learn C sharp, all of those things? I didn't even learn any. But so when I had mentioned it to the guy, he was like, oh, I've always had a flair for data, even right from when I was in my former workplace. And I was shocked that someone actually noticed that and I didn't even know. So I took some courses, and then, please let me know in the comments if you would like me to share with you some of the learning resources I used to actually learn data analytics. That was where I started, right? So I took some courses, and before graduating from the postgraduate program, I knew I needed to get a job. And for someone who was coming from a core professional background, which is medical laboratory science, I had not had any experience in any other field. Trying to switch careers was a big talk, right? Because it looked like my only option was to just find a hospital and go and submit my CV. So my plan was a month to graduation, or 2 months before the graduation month, sorry. I was going to go and just drop my CV in hospitals. I found certain hospitals like I was going to drop my CV, because again, this program was what got me to Lagos. I didn't know no one here because the program already provided us accommodation, feeding, everything was fully funded. So that was my initial plan, to go and look for hospitals, to send in my CV. During my interaction with my mentor at the time, I had mentioned to him, and somehow at one of our mentor-mentee sessions was already almost coming to an end, and part of me just said, I would just say it was Holy Spirit that told me, why not just mention to this man your current dilemma. Sorry, my laptop is the phone. Your current dilemma, right? What was the dilemma? That's the question you're going to ask. Having come from a professional background, was running a business I was running a footwear brand. Of course, I was the one producing until I had to come to Lagos and I had to make other arrangements for production. Aside from that, also now being interested in data, even most of my classmates did not even know I was a medical laboratory scientist. So you see all of these things, there was a bit of confusion. I was not sure if I should focus on business poly or if I should go back to being a medical scientist, which I really didn't want to, because I was not ready to be waking up every day and doing the same thing. There was just burning desire. So why did I now decide to switch? Because I needed to be a bit more productive with my brain. I felt like I needed to task my brain a lot more. So during one of those sessions, I had mentioned to my mentor that I was not sure what I wanted to do, and he asked me if I wanted to work in corporate before going on to build my business. If I wanted to focus on business, and of course I told him, okay, I believe that if I go into the corporate world, it will give me an understanding of how to run a business properly. And that was how I applied for a management training program, and I succeeded. And that program also led me into another career path. So having gone through different departments, from finance to HR to marketing to production, because it was a manufacturing company, having gone through the different departments and also gaining experience there, every management trainee was asked to actually pick where they wanted to spend the remaining time of their management training program and where they wanted to, build a career in. And I chose marketing. But when I chose marketing, that marketing department generally will be called commercial group, right? So you have sales, you have marketing. So specifically marketing. And marketing is really around the branding, the retail presence, and all of that. When I chose marketing, I had retail expansion in mind because that was where I had worked the most. But I had other plans. I was made the assistant brand manager for Dulux Spain instead of the assistant retail expansion manager. And at that point, a lot of things, crossed through my mind. How do I navigate this? This was not really what I had in mind. I wanted to go into retail expansion because I enjoyed it. Again, because that was where I worked the most when I was in marketing. But I said, okay, I'm here. Maybe God has a reason why He put me there, so I'm going to wing it. And I did. Yes, you guessed right. I did. I learned a lot. A lot of things around campaign, rolling out campaigns, really trying to come up with stuff that would help with increasing brand equity, right? Was still interested in data. I utilized data while in that role as a brand manager. And from there, I began to look for other opportunities. Right. So this is really just a short story. But you would think that as all of these things are going on, I'm so confident and I'm like, yes, I know what I'm doing. No way. Oh my God. Oh my God. There were so many struggles. Like I struggled with a lot of things. Remember I mentioned that the postgraduate program got me questioning my intellectual capacity. It got me asking myself so many questions around how come I don't need this in Jesus? Am I sure I'm supposed to be here? All of that. And of course, with all of those things, there was self-sabotage, there was imposter syndrome, even stuff that I was typically good at, like naturally good at. I struggled to, do them. That's also why I mentioned that I'm trying to reclaim my voice, right? Because I used to be very confident and well, I am now, but thank God I'm gradually, God is helping me on that journey. But growing up, I was a very confident child and I was very vocal. So imagine now going from that kind of person to someone who is questioning her thought process before even sharing with anyone, right? So there were a lot of struggles, if I'm being very honest. And those struggles also came, aside from the struggles of, okay, how do I even get to where I want to be? There was also the struggle of, am I even sure this is what I want to do? Do I just go on to being a business person? Again, being a multi-potentialite can have its roles. But what is important is just, see all of those gifts, all of those talents as God's gift and always asking for the grace to help you figure out how to use them. Yeah, I had a lot of struggles. So many times I felt like I didn't deserve it. But back to how I now moved to becoming a business analyst. I I applied for a role within an insurance company. I don't even know what it means for an insurance company because I've never worked there before. But I just knew that I needed to give myself an opportunity, a chance in this thing called data. I applied at different companies. At some point, I even had to interview at a fashion company that made baby wear. Very funny, but I got through the interview. They were like, oh, I was one of the best, clinical, and all. Me, I didn't even think I had learned a lot when it comes to data, right? But I didn't get the job. And then close to when I was already getting really tired of where I was working, even though I enjoyed being a brand manager, I felt like there was more to me. Marketing, brand management was something I enjoyed doing, but it didn't seem to me as something I wanted to build a career in. I don't know where that feeling came from, but I made sure that I maximized the opportunity I had when I had it to learn a lot and, record it up there. But when I got the role at the insurance company as a business analyst, I was really excited. In fact, when I resumed, I had to ask my line manager what was it about me that made him select me because I did not have any experience, any core data related experience. Why I say core data related experience is that all the experiences or everything I have on my CV that talks about data was how I applied data within the current role I was in, right? So I remember him saying that, oh, that was just the fact that I think on my feet, and I'm like, okay, I've never heard that before. What does thinking on your feet, sound like? But he said that was really what stood out for him, and he just felt like that was what he needed for the person that was going to be in that role as a business analyst. If you also like to know what a business analyst does, if you'd like me to share that, please drop that in the comment section or whatever it is I'm saying about all the things I'm yapping. If there is any of them you want to know more about, just share in the comment section and I'll definitely try my best to do a video on it. So that was really what the interview or how it went, right? And then of course I got the role and I resumed. And again, as a business analyst, there's a lot to, there are different paths to it. But because I also have the strong sense of process, improving processes, it sort of also, stood out for me as well because that was what we were looking for at the time. What have I really learned in all of these things? I've learned that first, whatever it is I put my mind to do, I will do, first by God's grace. Secondly, you're really not as bad as you think you are. You're really not as dumb as you think you are. You're actually very smart, and there's so many things that you know that you think are that are just there and they are just bare minimum that so many other people are struggling with. So always appreciate. I learned to always appreciate my own gift, my own capacity, to appreciate the things that I didn't even consider serious, right? I also learned to really trust in God because getting this role as a business analyst came at a very strategic time. But I put in the effort and the work that was required. I also learned to try my best to not self sabotage because I've always been like, oh my god, what if my voice doesn't sound good? What if the video is not looking nice? What if my makeup is like this? What if the light is makeup? Mm. I learned to tell myself, hello, young girl, sit down and get the job done. Do what needs to be done. And even though for a while I had lost that inner push to just move and do what I said I would do, it's sort of I lost trust in myself. Even though that had happened, I'm at that point where I'm gradually gaining that trust back. And when I say I'm going to do something, I will do it, right? But by the special grace of God, because again, Holy Spirit has just been helping me, to be very honest. I'm not going to even take that out. So that's really what this journey has taught me. In case if you're at that point where you're really thinking and you're asking yourself, what the heck am I doing in my life? Why am I even still working in this place? First of all, try to appreciate where you are. Whatever job you're doing, put your whole mind to it. But I also learned to master the job I was doing, even though I was not enjoying it. Put your whole mind to it because you may never know where that experience will come in handy. Because being a brand manager has come in handy even in my business analyst role because working within the customer engagement and result management group. So within customer engagement, you're going to do we're going to be analyzing a lot of customer experience data. And having had that marketing experience as a brand manager, I was able to actually make sense of the data I'm seeing and know what each thing meant, like what CX rating is, that customer experience rating, net promoter score, how it was calculated, because we typically calculate it from where I was coming from. So then again, enjoy whatever it is you're doing, even though you're not happy about it, just stay in the moment, appreciate whatever it is you're gaining from it, and make sure that you're learning a lot. If you are looking to transition careers, begin to take active steps towards transitioning, towards getting to that career that you want to. Different steps. And when I say different steps, just let me know if you want me to share with you, the step-by-step process of how I really did this. Because this is just the story of how I got to where I am. But if you want to really know the nitty-gritty, just let me know in the comments and I will share that. Please don't see yourself that you're not good enough. You're actually good as you are, and everyone has their own unique talents or things that make them unique wherever they find themselves. So please ensure that you're not talking down on yourself. And I hope that this video has been able to inspire you. Please let me know if you would like to know step by step how I was actually able to move from healthcare to business analytics. Alright, please don't forget to like if you enjoyed this video. Drop me a comment to encourage me. Drop me a comment as well to tell me what you'd like me to share next. And subscribe as well so you can receive more videos on a week-on-week basis. Thank you. I'll see you in my next video. Ciao.